friends, it's Rana, and today I'll be doing the anti-TBR tag and talk about some books that I will never ever read. You will never catch me reading these books no matter what, not even over my dead body. The anti-TBR tag went viral on booktube like a year or 2 years ago and everyone was doing it. I really enjoyed watching all the videos that came out for this tag and I really wanted to do it too, but I didn't until now. So I don't know why, but here we are today doing it too late. So let's start with the juicy questions. Question number 1. A popular book everyone loves that you have no interest in reading. There's just so many books that I have zero interest in. I don't know where to start. Let's start with the popular big books that I have zero interest in, like the Game of Thrones series or the Song of Ice and Fire series. It is just too damn long for me and it has too many characters. I can't with books with many characters. I struggle with them already, so I don't really want to put the effort to memorize some characters for them to die 2 pages later. And it is an unfinished series and nobody knows when it will be finished. And I prefer reading series after they get finished and the last book is published, except for some rare cases. Another popular book that I have zero interest in reading is The Love Hypothesis. I'm pretty sure if I read this book, I will give it 0 stars or 1 stars. Like, if we have 1-star prediction, this book will be on the top of my list. And The Court of Something and Something by Sarah J. Maas. Absolutely no interest in reading the series or anything she writes in general. As well as Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. I was interested in reading this book after it gained a lot of hype, but then I heard what the messed up things that she did while she was in Africa with her husband, and I don't really like to support murderers. I know I always say that I separate the art from the artist and the author from their book, but in case they are criminals, I prefer not to read their books. Question number 2. A classic book or author you have no interest in reading. I'll be honest with you, I have been really losing my interest in reading any classics in general, but most classics that I don't care for are sci-fi and romance. And the top 3 classics that I'm pretty sure they are not for me: Brave New World and Dune. As for sci-fi, I don't really care for either of them and I have no interest in reading them. Gone with the Wind. Long-ass historical romances are not my cup of tea. I'm pretty sure there are way more classics on my list that I really don't care about, but these are my top 3. Also, Moby Dick, a tome of a book about catching a whale. No thank you. Question number 3. An author whose books you have no interest in reading. We have Sally Rooney. I have no problem with her as an author or as a person in general. Her books just don't sound appealing to my taste. Most people, even her fans, describe her books as character study and character driven with 0 to no plot at all. And these type of books really I don't enjoy them. I really like my plot. I don't care about the characters that much if there's no plot. And they sound like they have a lot of drama in them, and I'm not a big fan of drama in books. Sarah J. Maas. I have 0 interest in reading about fae porn. Nothing wrong with reading fae porn if it tickles your pickles, but it is just not my thing, if you know what I mean. And Colleen Hoover. Do I need to explain this one? Toxic, abusive romance books are not my jam. Question 3.5. A problematic author whose books you have no interest in reading. Controversial opinion here, but I really don't care if an author is problematic or not. If I want to read the book, I will read the damn book. I always separate the book from the author because I don't care what the author thinks in real life or what they say and their political opinions. I just don't care. Unless they are like criminals and killers like Delia Owens, then I will not support them. But other than that, I really don't care what they say or do in their lives as long as it is not a criminal offense. I'm gonna make a whole video discussing my opinion about this matter because I know it is quite controversial here on booktube when someone say that they spread the author from the book, but I will talk about it later on. But I have 2 authors that this question applied to. I know I told you I have this weird opinion and stance about the problematic authors thing, but one author, the first one, is Cassandra Clare. I heard so many weird and shady things about her. She said or did all over the internet. I lost all the interest I have to read her books because of that, especially after the horrible experience I went through reading her Infernal Devices series. So I don't really wanna support some shady person who don't really write good books anyway. The other author that I had some interest in reading his books, then I lost all of them after I heard some weird shit about him. Like, if you search his name with the word problematic, you will have a long, long list. And that author is Jay Kristoff. A small glimpse of what Google has to say about the problematic aspect of Jay Kristoff. Much of the issues with Kristoff involve cultural appropriation, as well as fetishization of various East Asian and Pacific Island cultures, questionable writing involving minors, anti-Semitic content, and activity in a racist group chat. Like, I know where to draw the line for problematic authors, but I can't excuse this. So I'm pretty good now, not reading anything by these two authors. Thank you. Next. Question number 4. An author you have read from and decided that their books are not for you. Oh boy, do I have a shocking list for you for this question. Coming as no surprise to any of you who regularly watch my videos, Taylor Jenkins Reid. In short, I gave her 3 chances, read 3 books by her, and each book became worse and worse for me, so I decided to stop reading anything by her, and her books are not for me. They are quite popular and people worship that lady, but she is not the author for me. Elif Shafak. I don't know how popular she is in the western side of the world, but in the Middle East and Turkey she is quite popular. I only read one book by her called 40 Rules of Love, and I detest that book. I even have a 1-hour rant video talking about all the things I hate about this book. But it is in Arabic and I didn't subtitle it in English because I don't have the patience to subtitle a 1-hour rant video. So I'm sorry about that. Rupi Kaur. I think she ruined modern poetry. Yes, she did. Another author I read only one book from and decided they are not for me, Haruki Murakami. I read Kafka on Shore, and the first third of the book was really good, then things went downhill. He writes some weird, messed up, shitty things that I'm pretty sure no sober human beings can write. He is on to something. He is either on drugs or shrooms. Lee Bardugo, I read the Shadow and Bone trilogy and the Six of Crows duology. They're right books. I don't hate them, but I don't think I am the target audience for her. Tahira Mafi, I read 2.5 books from her Shatters Me series, and I didn't really enjoy them. The only reason I kept reading is because there was this one character that I really, really loved called Kenji, and that's the only reason why I was pushing myself through these books, because I really loved that character. Sally Thorne, I DNF the hating game because just you. When we will get rid of the giant man, small tiny girl trope, an author that I don't think I will ever be able to read anything by her because of her way of describing things, is Karen Slaughter. I tried listening to her audiobook of Pretty Girls, and I am not a sensitive person towards graphic content. Like, I listen and watch many serial killer documentaries and true crime stories, and yeah, they are shocking a little bit, but I can handle them. But when I started listening to Pretty Girls, her way of describing things and her way of describing graphic content is just gruesome to me. It gave me the ick. I just didn't like that, so I DNF'd that book, and I will never read anything by her from the way that people say is that all of her books are like that. N.K. Jemisin, such a popular author here on booktube for her Broken Earth trilogy. I read that trilogy from start to finish. I don't understand the hype. I didn't understand most of what was happening in the books. I know I'm not stupid. I have high IQ. I just didn't enjoy the books because I didn't understand what the hell was going on. I even unhauled her series. I didn't hate it. I just didn't enjoy it and found it to be confusing. And last but not least, Elizabeth Acevedo. I don't hate her books. They are good books. I just didn't enjoy my time reading them. I mostly listen to her books on audiobook, and most of her books contain a lot of Spanish words, and I have really zero knowledge of Spanish language. So when I was listening to it, I didn't understand most of the Spanish things. I could understand some things from the context, but I'm not a Spanish speaker, so when I listened to the audiobooks, I didn't enjoy them because I didn't understand a lot of things they were saying in Spanish. And her stories are good stories, they are just not the type of stories that I personally enjoy. Question number 5. A genre you have no interest in, or a genre you tried to get into and couldn't. I don't mind reading anything from any genre under the sun except for 2 genres. Full-on romance and erotica and sci-fi. I don't mind some romance in my books, like a fantasy with a hint of romance or historical fiction with a dash of romance in it. I enjoy them, I really like them, but a full-on adult romance books or even young adult romance books, they are not my thing. And I never tried reading erotica and I will never do that to myself. I can't for the life of me sit down and read a historical romance or a full-on contemporary romance without feeling like I'm gonna kill myself. If you like reading 300 plus pages of people banging each other, honestly, props to you, because I could never. I would die from cringing too much and too hard. As for the other genre, sci-fi, I recently discovered that I actually don't enjoy reading sci-fi books. Yeah, I sometimes enjoy sci-fi fantasy books, but only sci-fi books? No, I don't think they are my thing. I don't mind reading sci-fi books from time to time to see if I will actually find something I like, but as of now, I never loved a sci-fi book. Question number 6. A book that you bought that you'll never read. I don't think I have an answer for this question because for the past couple of years I have been only buying books that I'm pretty sure I'm gonna read and enjoy. And the books that I had on my bookshelves that I knew I won't be reading, I got rid of them and unhauled them like a month or 2 ago. So I have 0 books on my shelves that I won't be reading anytime soon. Question number 7. A series you have no interest in reading, or a series you started and have DNF. As for the first part of the question, a series that you have no interest in reading, I have a lot of them, but I'm gonna mention only the quite popular ones. Twilight. I never read a Twilight book, I never watched a Twilight movie, and I'm proud of that. I'm not gonna change it. Divergent, watched the movies, enjoyed them while I watch them, but I have no interest in reading the books. Honestly, this selection, it sounds just too cringy for me. Eragon, I don't seem to gravitate towards that series at all. And lastly, 50 Shades of Grey. Do I need to give you a reason? I just told you that I hate romance and erotica books, and 50 Shades of Grey are all of that. As for series that I started and didn't finish, I have a few of them for you. The Lord of the Rings series. Oh, I know, shocking. I started reading the first book when I was in university, found it too long, too boring, so I stopped reading them, but I'm planning to watch the movies. As I said before, Shatter Me, I won't be finishing that series, never, never, never. The Raven Boys, it wasn't really a bad series. I just didn't enjoy it. I don't think it is my cup of tea, as you may say, because I didn't really like it. I didn't enjoy it, didn't feel attached to any of the characters, and the storyline was boring, so I DNF'd it at book 3, I think. And the last question, number 8, a new release you have no interest in reading. I really don't pay attention to new releases. I just read whatever sounds interesting to me, but I don't go out of my way and seek new releases and see what new books are being published this year. I really don't care. If I heard about a book on booktube from one of my booktuber friends and it seems interesting to me, I read it, but I don't go and search for new releases. It is not my thing. That's why I didn't continue using NetGalley, because I don't care for new releases. And if my nemesis Taylor Jenkins Reid is coming out with a new release, because she is apparently coming out with a new one every year, I don't really care about that one either if she is having a new book released. So that's it for today's video. I hope you liked it. Please subscribe to see my future videos, and I will see you next time. Bye!